this. All right, so the first thing, Victoria, your feet are close together. You're turning your toes toward the target, but you're going to tilt your shoulders. Like you said, you're going to tilt your shoulders down the hill. The problem is you didn't have enough tilt, and that angle that I just drew with that line, that's the shaft line. And when you took the club back, you did a nice job, but it went inside of that. And you don't want to do that on anytime you have a shot when you have a severe downhill lie. You'd rather go outside, not inside. So what happens when you go inside is the club is coming in too shallow underneath the plane there. You see how the club is coming underneath that plane? So you're going to scull it because it's coming in too shallow. So what does shallow mean? It's simply the angle the club head approaches the ball on. If we draw a line from here to the ball, that angle's too shallow. It needs to be a little steeper. Your right foot, you want to keep that foot down. You don't want to lift that heel way up off the ground either. You're just hitting a 50-yard shot. So that's why you hit it thin. So you want your hands, if anything, to stay to the outside of that yellow line, not to the inside of it. Now, bunker shots and pitch shots. If the ball is above your feet or below your feet. If the ball's above your feet, meaning if you're on a slope, say you've got to tilt this way. I'm going to put this over here somewhere. I don't want it to get broken. If you have a tilt when the ball's above your feet, say you're on a slope like, I don't know, maybe it's like that. You're on that kind of tilt. Your tendency will be to hit behind the ball, and the tendency for the ball will be this part of the golf club, the heel of the club, is going to catch the ground. When you're on the side of a hill, this part's going to grab the ground and turn the toe over, so the tendency is to pull it. So you have to play it back farther in your stance, back about a ball or two, maybe a ball, and you have to aim a little bit to the right. If the ball is below your feet, the tendency is to miss to the right and hit it thin. Thin meaning low, like you hit that last one. And so you got to get down the hill more. When I say down the hill, you got to sort of translate. So you set your upper body over your front legs. You're going to feel like you're over there a little bit more when you're down, when the ball is below your feet. Yeah. So that's important. So we'll go over these and we'll hit some. And a conventional shot for a pitch shot, you're gonna, and I don't think I taught you this last time, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna figure out that this distance right here is about 20 yards. So when the club shaft gets to about parallel to the ground, your hands at the top of your thigh, that's about 20 yards for you with a 56-degree wedge. Now if you go up here, now we've got 35. Hands are just above the right hip. 50 is going to be right in the middle of your chest. And around 65 is going to be where your hands reach your right shoulder. All right. You'll see when he swings here, the club face is coming in slightly open and it turns, rotates. But notice the triangle here, the upper arms are staying right on the chest. The whole triangle, the whole trunk moves together. The arms and the trunk move together. And notice his feet, they stay on the ground. You can see in yours your right foot's coming up pretty early. Okay. Let me resume and do a bunker shot. Alright, where do we go here? Bunkers, I got them over here. Should be in order, but they're not. Okay, now what do you notice there about the club face? It's a little open, right? And the ball is slightly in front of center. And then you're going to hit approximately 3 inches behind the ball. You're not going to hit way behind the ball. That's not good. Stance is a little bit open. because the club face is a little bit open. If you open the club face 10 degrees, you got to open your stance 10 degrees because you want the club face to point at the target. So, how does that look? So if I open the club face like that, where's that club pointing? To the right. So what do? I have to offset that by opening my stance. Does that make sense? Alright. So here you're going to cock the wrist. Stance is wide. But you're not going to be shifting a lot of weight in the bunker. In fact, I don't really like his setup. I prefer the lady I have in here, Sandra Gall. You can see how wide that is, right? So that's really important to note. She's very wide. And then as she swings back, notice how stable the lower body is. There's not a lot of moving parts there. And as she goes back, she's cocking the wrists. The weight doesn't really shift though. Her weight's going to stay on her front foot for the most part. She comes into the ball. Notice the face stays open as she strikes. Now, how hard you swing? You want to swing hard enough to get that sand onto the green. You want to throw the sand onto the green. So that club head's going to catch up and pass her hands, and the face stays open, and she's going to keep the chest turning. And notice where her hands finish right around her left hip. So the hands are going to make a circle. This wrist angle, I call it wiping a table off. You're just going to keep the palm up, turn right around. That's it. You got it. So, you like that video? Yeah. Yeah, she's got the face open. You can see how she's set up. The club face is open like that. So what you do to open the face is simply just preset the face by rotating it slightly open and then gripping the club. That's how you would do it. And then she's, the rest of it is just staying very still. Head still, lower body still. 3 inches behind the ball is good. Now some of the pros hit closer to the ball than 3 inches, but you want to be safe. You don't want to hit the ball first. So you want a lot of knee flex. You want to maintain a knee flex. You want to dig your feet in. That's important. Here's a back view of. That's very fast. We can do it much slower. But club goes back. See the toe of the club is up, open. He's going to come through. Notice how that face stays open. Feet stay pretty quiet. He just turns his chest through the ball. Notice how the club face over on the other side is still open. All right.